I'd like to call this legislative committee meeting to order. The next item on the agenda is the appointments and updates. So we have an appointment to the Public Relations Committee. That person is not here. Gwen Swanigan or Johnson?
So she did email me today to let me know that she did have to work tonight, so she would not be able to attend.
Next appointment is the Housing Commission, Pastor Kenneth Robinson. Would you like to say anything in regards to this appointment? Why you want to serve on that board? What expertise do you bring, and what are some of the things you hope to accomplish as you serve this first term?
Okay, so good evening, everyone, and those are some very interesting questions. I can tell you that I bring years of experience working in the community, in leadership roles, and currently, some of you may know that I pastor a local congregation here within Benton Harbor, where we serve a number of residents. I'm interested in working or helping on the board because I see a need I think that my past experience can help with providing leadership and some outside ideals. And so I look forward to being of service in any way I can. So.
Thank you, Pastor Robinson. We look forward to you serving on that board. So I'll recommend that this goes to the full body and it'll be voted on. I think our next meeting is on the 16th, December 16th. Will be our next committee meeting. Yep, it'll go before the full commission.
Thank you.
Yep. The next item on the agenda is our new business is a resolution approving the utility easement within the right-of-way. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The easement in question is one for the township to run a sewer line through. Goes down to Riverview Drive, and it goes down to Riverview Drive, and then will cross the river to the joint sewage plant. It's going to help solve a problem that they have. It will also help solve a problem that we have. Right now, we have the one line going across to the joint sewage plant. In the event that there were any problem or whatever that was not working. Currently, there's no other way. But with this line going through relatively near it, we would be able to pump. If our line is stopped, we could pump through theirs to the joint sewage plant. So I think it's one that would be good for both the township and for the city, and I certainly recommend approval of it.
So just for the sake of this, because a lot of people, within I just explaining what the easement is, I know, like, I understand that, but just we have a new committee member as well looking at this and just explaining just a little bit more about the terminology,
Sure.
the location, and those kinds of things.
Sure. What an easement is basically is a right to use and doesn't convey any title or anything of that nature. Generally, they give a utility the right to put its line through your property, to come back if necessary and maintain it, and to always restore it back to the condition that it was before. So it doesn't really cost you anything. And in this particular instance, as I said, both communities win. And it's great for the two communities to be working together closely on these types of things. And I think this is one that is a plus for both the city and township.
Easements, we're not the only organization that would do that, the light companies and things like that
Yes,
also does
company,
easements and things of that
us,
nature.
our water service has easements all over to get through properties and whatnot. It's a very, very common thing. In fact, I believe you just recently, well, not too long ago, you approved a right-of-way easement under the, forget the name of the act now, that allows these telecommunication companies, yeah. So everybody uses them.
So with this the location of the joint sewage plant, a lot of people are unaware of where that location is.
It's on the island, directly across from from Riverview Drive there. And it's jointly owned by both the city and city of Benton Harbor and the city of St. Joseph, but it services the entire region.
Thank you. Is there any questions around this? Let me get the committee. Have any questions? Any questions? Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm looking at this picture, this, are they gonna take trees down? Are they gonna move any? What is going to happen in that area? And my second question will be, on this map, is it showing where the city of Benton Harbor's line is and where it would connect with this new Benton Township line if we need it?
Oh, I don't believe just a moment, maybe sure. Yeah, the city of Benton Harbor River crossing is showing, and the top of this map, the red line across the top there.
Oh, that red line is
Yeah,
ours.
that's ours.
And so,
And that's a point where you'll notice they're fairly close. So if there were a problem, that's probably where the connection would be made to transfer the city sewage if it needed to over to their line.
and down at the bottom, is that the rest of our line? The same color as the top, so I didn't know.
I don't want to guess at that. I'm not certain.
Okay. If you do have any more pictures or something to give us a real understanding of it, I appreciate it. And the other questions about the trees and,
Well, they're not taking down any trees or anything, no. No, this
Okay.
is going underneath the street.
so it's all gonna be tunneled? There's
Yeah.
not gonna be any on the surface
No,
disturbance?
no.
Okay,
And there may be a place or two, but if so, I know they're going to restore it back to exactly where it was, but it's mostly going to be pushed under.
okay. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, city manager, I was just looking over this, so basically, this contract has been in existence since 1951, and so it just keep continuing, correct?
That's the next item on the agenda. That's not the same as the one with the pipe.
Yes, to the chair. Is this the area, I know in Riverview, it's like a dip, and people gotta cross over to, is this part of that area, you know what I'm saying? It's right there, I think it's right there by that, Okay. It's, was this
Yeah,
crossing is that, is this? You
The
know,
cr- the crossing is underwater.
But is they gonna do some surface road work or something? Cause it's a dip. People have to cross. A lot of people do. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people notice that it's right there by,
In the middle of Riverview Drive in
Yeah.
front of where Tackle Haven
yeah,
is.
that part of the area.
I don't, it's the general area, but I don't think it has anything to do with this.
That, oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
That would be road, wouldn't it? That would be road, wouldn't it? That would be streets and roads, I think. If it's a dip or something.
They gotta get underground.
Then they fix it.
Yeah, you've seen this equipment where they push underneath and so forth, and they don't disturb the surface at all.
Are there any more questions about this item? And I would just encourage anybody, city managers, to do a tour of the waste management, just so people get a general idea of where it is. I am familiar because
I'm sure they'd be very happy to host a tour if people are interested.
you know, just so people have an understanding of where it is and what that looks like. You have another question, Commissioner, you looking at? Okay, all right. I would make a recommendation that we send this item to the full body for approval.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Make sure that it's duly noted that we're asking for maybe a little more, bigger map or more information as to where those lines are connected in.
Duly
And I'll be
noted,
asking for that
clerk,
in the meeting.
for the next meeting that it's a little more explicit explaining, probably a bigger aerial map, actual, so you can actually see see that whole entire area if that's possible. The next item on the agenda is ordinance approving a contract providing for the joint ownership, use, and operation of the sewage disposal facility with the city of St. Joseph. City manager.
Yes, ma'am. Now we're on the one that you were asking about. And yes, there had been a contract between the two cities that was way back, and they were 50-year agreements. It was a 50-year agreement. That 50 years went by, and things just kept right on operating, and we've had numerous other agreements and so forth that facilitated the ongoing operation of it, like when the other communities down the shoreline joined up with St. Joe Township and the city of St. Joe to treat their sewage and so forth. So it's just been an ongoing process, but the Joint Sewage Board is now contemplating possibly at some point issuing bonds to do some upgrading and then new development there. And as they began to look at that and the attorneys began to review all of the documents and so forth, they recognized that there had not been an agreement to extend that. And just to make sure that all the i's are dotted and all the t's are crossed, they want to do this contract extension. And it's in everybody's best interest to do so, and I certainly recommend it.
So for like clarification of reading the document, on the end of the page, it say financial impact none. So that's no financial impact towards Ben Harbor anyway.
There's no cost associated with extending this, no.
So pretty much, we're just gonna go ahead and extend. Are we gonna update anything?
Not in this document, no. In fact, once this 50 years is over, we'll have to do it again.
I'm really interested in the conversation that we're having about the bonds. Can you give us a little bit more information? And you know I'm gonna ask about the human infrastructure and how it's gonna affect my people. So please, if you have that, share it.
Well, I can tell you that the the joint sewage operation is a very highly technical operation. It, kind of like our water plant, has close scrutiny by the state and federal government in terms of the treatment process, what the composition of the water is that goes into the river once it's been treated, and so forth. And there are a number of potential upgrades as we're constantly trying to do better in terms of treating and processing and keeping costs down and that type of thing. As a matter of fact, right now, they are installing two generator type units there that's going to lower some of the cost of the electrical use that goes in by utilizing and burning gas that comes off and using that to help generate electricity. There'll be a number of these kind of things that will be coming up. They're constantly rebuilding tanks, sometime having to replace them. Same thing with motors and you name it. And it's anticipated that in the future that as they continue to work with these things. Mostly up to now, they've been able to work off of cash flow. But there's going to be a point where they'll need to do some financing.
How does that bond issue gonna affect the city of Ben Harbor and the residents?
Generally, it won't affect the residents of the city in any direct way. Basically, what will happen is the revenue that's generated as a part of the processing that takes place for all of the communities would be used to repay those bonds.
Thank you, Chair.
Are there any other questions around this item?
I'm sorry. Mr. Manager, could you just quickly explain to us what a bond is, how that process works?
Certainly. It's a financial instrument that generally is longer term. In any business operation, you deal mostly cash flow for day-to-day types of things, but if you have a need to do capital improvements, which generally will include things like new buildings, new lines, possibly major equipment, the real high-cost stuff that may be million or several hundred thousand and that kind of thing. Those are generally financed, just like you do a house over a long period of time, can be 20 years, 30 years, or whatever the case may be in terms of at that particular time what the cost of financing is. A lot of financial costs are pegged to treasury bills and things of that nature, and your different insurance companies will often buy these bonds and put them in their portfolio that may be the part of some big retirement funds, long-term handling and so forth. But essentially what that does is enables this business that's using bonds to, instead of getting hit regularly with a huge cash transaction, they have a steady payment to make over a long period of time. And they can then plan that and count that in their projections for yearly operations and that kind of thing. And it basically helps them to be able to function.
Thank you. I know that in my home, Cleveland, Ohio, they use bonds to replace all of our schools, all the schools in our system. And that was a lot of high schools, junior highs and all that. So they did use that. So you're saying that there's a payment associated with that? And if so, will we be able to make that payment over the course of the years with the kind of revenue that we have coming into Ben Harbor right now?
Absolutely. Let me just kind of correct, it would not be Benton Harbor involved at all. It would be the joint sewage plant. And they do have the revenue to pay those costs. And he's right. Bonds are used to finance school buildings, highway projects, city halls, you name it. Most large, high-cost projects, typically they utilize bonds.
Question, so just based on the ordinance, and it says, either city may receive sewage in its own disposal system. So has that happened? Have we received other sewage besides ours? Have we, given off any other sewage besides ours? And then in terms of cost, that should not exceed 100 gallons, 100,000 gallons. Have we ever received over that amount and charges associated with it? Because it also says that they have the right to increase those fees if they need to offset those costs.
And that's sort of a natural thing, just like we in our water plant. Depending upon what kinds of cost of operation they incur when it comes to materials, equipment, manpower, whatever's involved. If it reaches a point where those costs go up, and that's the only means they have of recovering those costs, they would have to adjust fees and so forth for it. But for the most part, there's not been, to my knowledge, much of any increases of any significance. And on your first question as to others having their sewage come through our lines, for many, many years, all of Benton Townships came through our lines and went through the one crossing that's there at the river. So it has before and could again, depending upon just what development takes place and that kind of thing.
Some of those costs, because like you said, it's a natural variation. Sometimes it's higher or lower. Is that reflected in the bills the disposal bills that residents receive?
I'm sure that they are, yes.
That would account for the fluctuation that we see sometimes in those bills?
If,
I just want to be clear about that.
if there's a fluctuation, it would be in the city's bill to them. But the residents' bills is basically the same. You know, you get from the city a water bill, a sewage bill, and a trash bill, and those are set at certain rates. The water bill goes up and down with usage, but the sewage bill and the refuse bill is predicated on a rate that's set, that's expected to generate the income necessary to cover those costs.
The cost of the water system, so how does that address any overages that may occur? So you're saying that that's built into that system that the city, so the rates are set, but how does that offset those increases that may come to the city? How is the city, is just coming out of the general fund to cover those costs, and how is it being made up?
No, generally, the rate that's set covers those costs. Now, another different example where it's not covering it is what we've been talking about with refuse. The $17.76 a month cost does not cover the costs that we're incurring for trash, and that's coming out of general fund and creating a problem for us. As you know, the water fund over the last several years have gone through several adjustments. And part of those were the result of a specific financial action that was involved with I think the CWRF program that Eagle has, where we borrowed money through Eagle. And part of the agreement was that we would adjust the rates to be able to cover it.
Any other questions on this item before we make a recommendation to move it forward? Commissioner Isom, did you have a question? Okay. No other questions? All right, I'll make a recommendation that you going once, going twice. I see your hand. Make a recommendation to send this item to the full commission on Monday, December 16th. I'll open it up for public comments for anyone who has any public comments.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I was really excited and about seeing a resident wanting to be on my committee. Every month I beg and I say on YouTube, please come, and I got one. And over the years, I've seen other residents come up here and had not been able to show and for this committee, but they were pushed on. And I'm asking you to do the same thing for Ms. Johnson.
Say that again?
I think what's been pushed on is reappointments.
Yes, we have not.
No, you wasn't here.
No. what
I'm talking
saying-
history here. You wasn't even here when it happened. I'm talking history. And there's no reason for us to have any criteria other than what the charter said, that they have the will. People don't even have to live in the city of Benton Harbor, so there's no reason for us to ask any question other than accept their application and then allow them to train and get involved in the government. But for us to just ask them to come and say something, I'm asking you to suspend the rules now and let this woman come
I
and
will
serve
say,
on my committee.
I will say that
please.
you do that in the commission meeting. You could ask the mayor to suspend the rules, because everybody who has been appointed
I'll go
thus
back
far.
and you already know that
Yep,
I'm
please
giving
do.
you history. So if something is done in the past, it can't be done in the future.
It
So
can't
I
be
will.
done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Go ahead, sir.
This is the time, and I could do it afterwards, but when is the last of the leaf pickup through the chair? I'd like to know. I got 2 cans sitting out in front of my yard that's been out there since before last Friday. They were supposed to be picking them up every Friday. This is the second Friday, and they got bypassed, and they still sitting out there. I'd like to make a personal request, somebody to help me come and get those cans. I can't get them.
I'll see what we can get done about that, sir, because I don't really have an answer for you, but I'll find one.
Not now, but first
Okay.
chance you get.
Will do, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Final yard waste pickup is Friday, December 6th.
So for anybody listening, you may put your leaves out on the curb on Friday and they will be picked up. That's the final leaf pickup for the season. December the 6th, this Friday.
My leaves that I pick up off of Broadway is in a black trash, big trash bin like our regular ones. And they bypassed it, and I'm just asking for some help because I can't do that, but I could help them do it. So,
Sure, they'll pick them up, sir. I think they had some equipment problems last week, from what I heard, but I'm sure they'll pick them up.
yeah, I know they have some employee problems too.
So I just had a question from Mr. Duncan's comment. Do they know? Like, I thought you put them in those paper bags. Will they know to pick up the trash?
Listen, I'm not picking up like that because if I'm picking up off the street, I need some help from the from the city. I'm with a block club too, so if I can't get them to do this, who can?
I was just asking to make sure that they knew.
Everybody should know. That's why we were asking about that newsletter, so everybody in the citizens would know, everybody in the city would know all the rules and regulations instead of people pointing their finger and saying what we will do and what we won't do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Are there any other public comments? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.